Me too.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Gunner. Thank you for being with us today on Real Medicine Talks, and I'm really excited to have Isa, that your partner is with us, and Gunner is also from Rosebud, and he's your partner, and he's also a musical artist, a musician, a music artist, and a youth mentor, and he's from Rosebud, and Isa and I last week, we were talking about the voice and the power of the voice and the song. And so we asked, well, you asked Gunner, you asked Gunner if he would sing a song for us. So is there a special song that you had in mind that has a quality that you wanted to bring in or share about?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna sing a prayer song. This one doesn't have any specific words in it, but it's a prayer song. It's a good one that I learned this year from Sundance over in Kyle. So from Michael, he taught me it. So it's a good one. So I'm gonna sing it for you guys. So Hi-oh, hey, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi. Hi-oh, hey, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi, oh, hi. Ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi. Ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, ya ha ya oh hi yo hi ya oh hi yo hi yo ya ha ya ha ya ha ya oh hi ya ha ya ha ya oh ya ha ya oh hi yo hi ya oh hi yo hi hi-oh, hey, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi-oh, hi, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi, ya, ha, ya, ha, ya, oh, ya, ha, ya, oh, hi-oh, hi, ya, oh, hi-oh, hi. Ya ha ya ha ya ha ya oh hi ya ha ya ha ya oh ya ha ya oh hi oh hi ya oh hi oh hi oh. Aho.
Oh,
Okay.
Wopila Gunner. Thank you so much. And yeah, how can people hear more of you? How can people connect with your music? And
well, I guess everything. My middle name is Jules, but it's spelled Jules. So Gunner Jules, it's spelled like Jules. So anything, you can look it up on YouTube or just Google it, and something should come up. Or Apple Music and all that. So I make contemporary, like hip hop. I grew up on the res, so I lean that way, R&B hip hop style. I grew up producing music, but I've always worked with youth, so kind of goes hand in hand. So but I've been able to work alongside and collaborate, enough off the reservation to kind of make starting off, kind of making a career and trying to draw people in, to build on that here on the res. So
I have a question real quick for Gunner. So how I guess what I always preach is your voice is powerful. It could bless people. And it's medicine. So what is your thought on that? Or what when you make your music, what are you trying to stir to for other people to hear you? Are you trying to share your story? Are you
I think regardless, you always get a piece of story, and I just think your voice is a tool that you can use to communicate, and you can express emotion through it. So in that way, I think that's what really grabbed me, was because I didn't really express myself. So music has kind of always been that for me to it's like you do it and you create it, and you try to make it, it's a piece of you and it expresses emotion, and people get to hear it. And it's, I think, just the whole process.
and it has an impact?
Yeah.
Impact on
Yeah.
others.
And it's just like, it's something I love doing, basically. So, and it's provided much more than I even thought it would. It just started off as something small, and then it just tied in with what I was doing already. So I do workshops for youth. Well, I just still create music myself, but it's way more than just, I'm not trying to be an artist per se, like trying to get signed to a label or anything, but I'm trying to just show that I'm able to continue to do it. And especially here, it's uncommon for artists to even express themselves as artists, because it's what are you doing with your life as an artist on the res? It doesn't really make sense. And it's kind of I don't know, I think it's kind of seen in a light that rather than being this thing that you can create from, it's just, there's no art center or anything like that. So I'm working on just trying to plant a seed that's gonna evolve into something bigger,
Could I ask something, Gunnar?
Yeah, sure.
That's so awesome. And I just think that's so beautiful and amazing. And Isa, in our last talk, we were talking about, I had some friends and they had a company called Everyone Has a Song Productions. And what they did is they worked with kids who didn't want to go to school in any other way.
Yeah.
And remember that? And and what they did is they created a school where kids learned everything through music. And then they ended up making, either a hip hop album or, or a rap album. And they would make these incredible music albums. And that would be, in that album would be their science, their math, their reading, like everything would be in the creation of that album. And so I just have goosebumps. I have, these thoughts of my beautiful friend, Charles, who did that. And he's crossed over now, Charles Jefferson, but all of the kids where that music gave them their whole life,
Mhm.
And they would call him 5-10 years later and be like, and they would be okay and they would be thriving, so I think about that program and the medicine that was. And so I'm just wondering about, I'm thinking about a dream, the dream, and the dream of music and the dream of being an artist and the impact that has, but also, how would you like this dream to expand, and how do you see this music as medicine going into the world? How do you see this dream expanding and going where it needs to go?
Well, I already know what the medicine is, and just like you were saying, is you can only experience, I know for a fact, like I just read a letter today about the impact it had on one individual. And that's all you want to do is, so whenever we do these youth camps, we're traveling, and you see it, you see the youth evolve through just a week-long camp. And basically every time I've experienced that, it was usually like in youth programs or, we're running, but now I get to use something that I love and provide that to them. So it definitely goes both ways. But what was that other question?
How do you how do
Oh,
you
as
want to
medicine.
yeah, like how do you want to
Oh, how do
expand
I
it
want to
in
see
your
it?
yeah.
Is a physical space for it. I mean, I wanna eventually have a physical space, but right now we're just doing the workshops to kind of get the, this is what we do, kind of that's a part of what we do. And then try to start fundraising or there's grants out there, and it's just gonna have to develop a little more before we start making plans like that. But it's been my dream or my goal. That's like the ultimate goal. But
And
meanwhile, it's just still creating music and collaborating, networking, just doing what I can, and that's about it.
it's good to do what we can, right? I mean, every day it's like, I have
Right.
to think about that,
Yeah.
what's
Sure.
the good I can do today? If I could do something good today, what is it? How can I do that? Um, but what you just said, it's like, oh, visibility and voice, like how to be visible and how to use the voice. And that's really what's going to, if we can uplift all of the voices that need to be uplifted, I think that's the key.
There's a lot of untapped potential, and so not to go too far into it, but also being able to create infrastructure and jobs. There's nothing for entertainment around, so that and we got a lot of young artists and a lot of older artists panhandling with their art, for a little money, when they should have a little bit of infrastructure to, because
Foundation.
our art is sought after, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
so
no,
powerful.
yeah, and I've had relatives who are great artists, and just so just kind of knowing that and knowing it's a need, it's going to create culture for younger generations. And because there's really no, it's like, what is the current culture? Because we have our historical culture, but I think that's a big a void that we have on the res.
Yeah. And that need, and that song needs to be in our bones.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I really I was just talking to Gunner a while ago, like a couple days ago or something, about how I wish I had that gift of a song coming to me, through a dream, through wind, through birds, through whatever it is. And it's, you are being open with your surroundings, with your dreams, everything, and then this song comes, maybe the full song, maybe the half a song, and then you're patient, and then the rest comes again, because sometimes we hear Brother Michael humming a song in random times, and he was like, oh, the rest will come. And already it's just a beautiful hum with no words yet. It's just the hum. And then later on, we hear it in Sweat, or we hear it at Sundance, or he's
Right.
like, gathers all these people and is like, here's the song, let's learn it, and so I think that's such a gift within itself.
Yes. Yes.
It's
It reminds me of, I'm sorry, sister.
oh, it's like it's amazing. Just that it's not small. It's a big gift.
It's and one of the things I'm thinking, and thank you, Gunner, you're just like so sweet. You're like, oh, I'm gonna be your like interviewee person. So thank you for being in the conversation. It's so awesome.
I'm glad to be on it, and
Really
support you guys too. Of course, gotta support the Wias.
Yeah, Wopila, thank you, and but I'm thinking about how music time travels. Like I'm humming a song, I can be humming a song that's thousands of years old, right? Like if I'm, if I'm singing, oh, Wani Wachielo, I'm singing something that's, really old, but also like you were saying, like then, like Brother Mike puts his own, and then suddenly you're like, oh, Wani Wachielo has this new experience and feeling to it, but it's still this ancient song, and it still says, I want to live, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I love how music time travels, and
Mhm.
And what you were saying about the dream, Isa, you know, so how are we dreaming, you know, this in this time? And I love what you said about the music and how it's part of that dream, like the bird, the song, the oh, it'll come, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm really curious about how can we open our hearts to that creativity,
Yeah.
you know, because we need to be creating, and it seems like there's a lot of destroying going on right now. I don't know, you know, there seems to be a, you know, some destroying. So how can we create? And I'd be curious on both of your perspective about that. Gunnar, you working with youth, and Isa, your visionary gifts and teaching gifts.
And I always say I'm not creative,
Oh my God.
but like the other day, you know, Malia, she loves to paint.
Oh yeah.
And so we're painting and I'm just like getting into it. And it was so soothing. But I had no idea on this white piece of canvas what I was going to do. And I just started painting. And then things just start coming.
Oh yeah.
And I was just going with it. And then I was like, oh, you know, like I'm going to Google or I'm going to YouTube this sunflower because that's what I thought of. And then I started doing it, but then I started doing my own. Like I watched for a little bit and then I did my own perspective on it. And I tapped into my creativity. Like I allowed it. And it was so soothing and calming. And I'm just proud of it because we hang all the art stuff. And I'm like, oh, look at my picture.
It's so pretty. Yes.
Yeah.
Sunflower, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's the sun come to earth.
Right.
Yeah, that's what sunflowers are. Oh, that's so powerful. So you opened your heart.
Yeah. I just
process.
went with it. I was just open
Mhm.
and just kept going with it. Whatever was coming, I was just doing the strokes or the colors or whatever it was.
That's a beautiful thing about it is anytime it's like spontaneous, you know, it's real spontaneous and it can go anywhere. And
Oh, spontaneous, yes.
and
Yeah.
it creates, I mean, it's exciting. You don't know what it's going to be, but it's also frustrating. A lot of
Mistakes,
like
but
trial
it's
and
not.
error, and then you refine, and it just like anything, you know, but it's still spontaneous. I think anytime you're creating, and then and that's how things are formed, you know. And there's a lot that can go into it. Like there's a lot of ways to start. You know, sometimes you just start, sometimes you brainstorm. But sort of like life, you know.
Yeah.
You know, something I was wondering is in community, like, and in collaboration, you know, what are you seeing? What are you seeing as a result of this work that you've been offering, or as a result of the workshops that you've been doing and community?
I know, well, I guess I don't like being able to see the follow-up and stuff. We just kind of started and been urging communities, but we did a workshop and we're invited back. So next weekend we'll be doing a show in Pine Ridge at Thunder Valley community over there. So we're doing a show and then we're also working with the youth to perform their song at the show. So it's already come back around this quick and it's going to be a little reunion. Yeah. And then we've been encouraging the community to like get the equipment and just, you know, start experimenting with it and just provide the tools and try to create some programming or whatever they need to do. But, and they have our contacts if they need our help or input. So.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's so beautiful, Gunnar. Thank you so much. And we appreciate you so much. And thank you for your work.
Yep.
It's really powerful and it's good medicine and much needed. You know, we all need that medicine and we all need that song.
Mhm.
You know, it's really powerful.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm gonna go out to the kids outside.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
a pleasure. Yes, please say hello for me.
Sure.
All right, good to see you, Gunner. Wopila. That was so kind.
Yeah.
That was so kind, and his voice is so beautiful. Oh my God, are you like, just sing me to sleep? No. Every night, like, oh, just sing me another song, you know.
That's crazy how the kids he used to so his mom would sing a song for bedtime. Then he sang it to the kids at bedtime and they needed it in order to go to sleep.
Interesting.
It's just like, you know, just how you said, like your voice keeps it's like it's like a time capsule, you know? And I'm sure the song his mom, it was probably shared at some point in her life, you know, so it's just a generational thing.
Mm.
It's so crazy. Yeah.
Go ahead, sister.
Go ahead. Okay, because I'm doing classes too, and we talked about storytelling
Mm.
and how kids, even people, they learn from stories,
Mhm.
but also from songs, you know, from the music. You're learning. It's generational. And so it's real powerful. And if you think about it, some of the songs that are still sung, prayer songs, it's like so many years, you know, and just in that alone is it brings so much honor
Yeah.
and like humbling.
Honor, yeah.
And even the stories, you know, the stories that we're told and still sharing them to the smaller generation, it's going to impact them.
Right.
And then they're going to share the
They're gonna
same
be like,
story.
oh, and then here's the healing. Here's the
Yeah.
here's the story. Here's the medicine. Here's the voice. And you know, they've done research, Isa, and um, this is something that I've researched for my own courses, but they've done research and they found that if you sing, it strengthens your immune system.
Hmm.
So I sing every day. And it's one of the requirements I have of my TAs and my courses that TA my class. Like, you have to sing every day. And you have to spend 1 hour outside every day, right? And so, but there's something about that it does strengthen the immune system, and these really, like, these ancient things that can help us with our modern issues.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I could sing, you know.
Mhm.
But then I also think about, like, what are your favorite songs that you still sing, or you know, what are the songs that come to mind in different times that where we just start humming a song and we're like, oh, suddenly I'm humming, you know, like the Beatles, Love, Love Me Do, or something, you know, like, oh, love, love me do, you know, I love you. Like, that's a song that comes to my mind. So, but the interesting thing is that now you know what's going on in my deep psyche.
Yeah.
Right? You know what's happening in my mind and what's going on in my life. It's like, oh, well, love is what I'm experiencing right now. I'm experiencing a lot of love with my partner. I'm experiencing a lot of love with, you know, my family, with you, with, you know, yeah. I mean, so it's just like, oh, there's just like this sunflower, you know, like this sunflower. But sometimes, you know, that those songs I think are telling us about where we are and who we are and how we are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, because we're not thinking about it. We're just humming,
Yeah.
singing, you know.
And again, that's just coming to us,
Yeah.
like a sign, a message, you know, maybe even a sign of being on the right path.
The door is open.
Yeah.
The doors, here's the door. The door is open. Open the door. Open the door. You know?
And you walk right through it because you're humming the song or whatever, whatever it is.
Interesting. And I was thinking also something, and I'm so grateful that song is just staying with me. So beautiful, that song that Gunnar sang. What a gift. And
It brought me back to Sundance time.
yeah, me too. I was like, oh, yes.
Yeah. Like you could smell, see, hear
Mhm.
the people.
And take.
Yeah, it's like your mind took a picture, but was very detailed with that picture. And it just brings you back to that moment. And I even have a little small story to share with that song. Is we was all dancing and it was dark, and Michael and them, you can tell in their voice, in all their voices, they were enjoying themselves singing that song. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. Every time they took the lead, you could just feel like the honor of just sitting with each other and sharing their voices together in that prayer. And then we're dancing and enjoying their voices and literally feel it within yourself. And they just kept singing and singing and singing. And it was like a whole nother round, because they just kept going and going and going. And it just brought like happiness.
Yeah. Yes. And strength.
Yeah.
Like I know that, those songs are my strength.
Yeah.
I mean, my family is my strength, but you guys, you're my, everyone under that arbor is my, but we're one another's strength. We're like giving one another strength. But those songs, without the songs, it doesn't happen. You
No.
know?
Yeah.
You have to have the songs in order for the dance to happen.
Right.
Oh, Isa.
So blessed.
Yeah, so powerful. And so, I think that what Gunnar was saying and what you're saying, like, there's also something about like the voice heals our connection. And I was just wondering about your thoughts about that or ideas about that, how the voice heals connection. If you have a story or something that comes to mind when we talk about healing our connection through our voice.
Yeah. I guess it's just being mindful of the song, where it's coming from. Because, if you hear a prayer song, you automatically go into like that prayer or that seriousness,
Yeah, just that. Yeah.
Yeah. And just within that, the feeling comes with that of sometimes I don't understand every prayer, but I could feel it.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. And so it's like just being aware and open and giving that time of the other person. You're being respectful to whoever's singing or whoever's praying or whatever. But you're also at the same time, you're respecting yourself, because you're allowing that energy to come through and to feel it. And it takes you to sadness sometimes, takes you to happiness. It takes you to, sometimes even anger. But within that anger, it's not you're angry. It's just that feeling of angry, feeling of anger. It's where you're walking through it. You're not acting on
like
it.
moving you. It's
Yeah.
like it's moving you through it. Is that
Yeah.
kind of,
So all the energies are moving through you and you're allowing all of that to connect. And 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long just for that small connection. It's not small. It seems small in the moment because of the time, but it's huge to your spirit, to your healing, to your connection. It's huge. It's huge. It's huge for your spirit. So I guess just allowing and knowing just to connect, feel.
And I think, keeping our hearts open, keeping our hearts open and so really supporting one another with an open heart. It's like you can hear in someone's tone. It's like you were saying with the songs, like some songs make you happy, some songs make you sad, some songs, and it's almost like they're making you, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
those songs, I cry every time I hear. And I know it's going to happen, but I still cry every time, and there's songs where, I know if I want to feel good, I can hear that song and I'll feel good,
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think about how, how those songs are like kind of like time traveling, and we can travel through time, but that we're also being given inspiration for our own voice and for our own, for that power of that healing. Like if it strengthens our immunity to sing, then it has to have a healing quality as we do it, right?
Yeah. Strengthening. I like that because I can reflect on myself of using my own voice. It's not singing, but using my own voice daily. But it's like I'm singing. I'm actually spreading my voice. And so it's strengthening as I'm walking with my voice. Because before, I was walking, my voice was back here, but now we're walking together.
Right. Oh my God, Isa, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's such a great, before, or is my voice like ahead of me,
Right.
or is it actually beside me? And is it, are we walking together?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love that. That's so beautiful. Yeah. So how can we walk together with our voices and what's our song?
Yeah. Because everybody's song is different. Everyone's song is different.
So beautiful. In our last conversation, we were talking about all the senses, and you said something. You sent me a text the next day, like, "Oh, scent.
Yeah.
What about scent?" And so I've been thinking about sound and scent.
Yeah.
This last week, and something that came to my mind was how, and we were also talking about the invisible world the last week, and I was thinking about how a song can remind us of someone who's passed on, and remind us of an ancestor, like what you were saying about the Sundance, and like, how it brought us both like right back to those moments,
Right.
and those really precious moments in our prayer, but I was thinking about also how sometimes I'll have a scent and it'll be like, oh, there's my grandfather, or oh, I can smell the scent, and I know almost like they're present, or so I was just wondering if you wanted to say anything about scent and sound before.
So I was doing class, and it was Gunner's turn to cook because it was during cooking time, supper time. And I was like, what's that smell? And it kept bringing me back to when we have to eat kidney.
Oh, yes, kidney.
I literally tasted it in my mouth, from just the smell. And I was like, I didn't, I was having this conversation within myself, and then we eat and, but after a while, I was like, was that scent smell, was that telling me something?
Oh, messenger.
And yeah. And I was like, it was crazy. And it told us something, and I just, it brought me to, what would it be like if you listened to every message that came to you? How would that be? Like, I thought to myself, how would I walk that day if everything that came to me, I just, it, like that scent was like, nope, stop there.
Mhm.
But I just kept going with it.
Yeah.
But what would have happened? I have this one hand sanitizer scent, and it makes me think of my grandpa. And
Oh.
so I'm always like smelling it,
Mm.
and it lasts on my hands for a long time. And I was getting frustrated and whatever, and I was like this, but I could smell him. And then I was like, yeah.
Mm.
And it just brought a sense of calmness. But it was just the scent of the smell,
Mm.
when you think of like the calming senses, it's just like in a snap of a finger, you're like, oh,
Mm.
you're just calm just from that scent,
Yes.
just from that scent, so there's warnings, but there's also calming,
Mm.
also presence of people. And there's also memory, brings you back.
The scent has the memory. Yeah, that's so interesting, Isa, because I think about when with COVID, people lose their sense of smell and
Right.
taste.
Yeah.
So it's like you're losing your memory. You're losing this is really essential aspect of your humanity and of your ability to connect with who you are.
My youngest son, baby Gunner, he mentioned that. He was like, Mom, when you get COVID, do you really lose your taste and your smell? And I was like, some people do, yes. And then we're watching this movie called See, where they're blind. But it's really amazing how they're able to taste, smell, and hear, and that's how they see.
Yeah.
And it talks about the people that can see in their tribes, because there's some young children that are gifted with sight. And they're saying just because you have sight doesn't mean you're seeing everything.
Whoa.
You're seeing what you want. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true.
Like, oh my God. Whoa. Yeah. And we get so wrapped up in our sight.
Yeah. Yeah.
That we don't remember to listen or how important.
And just giving thanks. Like when baby Gunner mentioned that, with the taste and the smell, I was like, yes, some people don't have it for a long period of time. Some people, it gradually comes back. There's some people that still don't have that taste or that smell. And you have to be thankful, And I was like, give thanks right now, Wopila, for your smell and your taste.
Wopila. Yeah.
For our sight and for our hearing. And it's like, that was what the higher power intended for each of us to have. And we have to cherish those things.
And the pauses, I loved what you said about, and the pauses they're giving us, and the blessings that they're giving us. And That's powerful. And you know, I just was thinking about, I know we need to wrap up here soon,
Yeah.
but I was thinking about with lullabies with babies.
Oh yeah.
You know, that, you know, I remember my mother always singing those to me, and it's like we just get to continue,
Hmm.
you know, having these lullabies and being held and like the voice of another human being.
Mhm.
Like it's almost like being held and embraced sometimes, you know.
Yeah. And you feel that feeling.
Mhm. And you have a new one coming, so it's gonna be awesome. Gonna be lots of lullabies and good things. And you, I believe you had a quote that you ran across that I'd love
Yeah.
if you wanted to share that.
So it says, the voice has the power to bless.
Mm,
The voice has the power to bless. Words are medicine, and they will have an impact. Words are medicine, and they will have an impact.
mm.
So be that good, loving impact on others.
I love that. Thank you. And and if I could bless, what would I say? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could bless, what would I say? So we would love to hear from you, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you.
Yes. See you guys.
And thank you, Gunner. What a blessing.